That's it, Ned. Go back to your crippled son. Run back to Winterfell.
Ned Stark made a lot of mistakes in Season 1 of Game of Thrones, but was the biggest mistake he made resigning as Hand of the King. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Entertainment for another Season 1 theory. This time we're going to be looking at Episode 5, towards the end of Episode 5 to be exact, when Ned basically is like, well, you know what, Robert, you're not the man I thought you were, and he gives up the Hand of the King. Robert gives him an ultimatum: either you serve me or I'll find a hand that will. And Ned's like, well, suit yourself. He takes out the little hand ornament thing, patch,
badge, whatever, the badge of honour.
The badge of the hand, and he just throws it down at the council meeting, and he walks off, and then Robert Baratheon threatens to have his head on a stick. Run back to Winterfell. And Ned just walks out the door. Now, we can argue that was a bad decision for Ned, but I think what was an even dumber decision from Ned was he resigns as the Hand of the King, but then decides he's going to stay in King's Landing. And yeah, maybe he was manipulated by Littlefinger into staying longer than he wanted to, because he kind of gave him the olive branch here. If you stay, you might find out more about, Robert's bastard kids and whatnot. So he kind of tricked, I guess, Ned Stark into staying in King's Landing longer than he should have, and then this allowed obviously Jaime Lannister to arrive. And I mean, you've got to wonder at this point, is it any coincidence that as soon as Ned Stark resigns as the Hand of the King, Littlefinger finds an excuse to keep him in King's Landing longer than necessary, and then Jaime Lannister just appears out of nowhere? It's almost like they were waiting for this opportunity, almost like Ned was set up here.
Almost like he was set up, and we can make as many fairy fids as we want about Ned in Season 1, but I think he pretty much got everything wrong. I can't look at one thing Ned did and went, you know what, he's hit the nail on the head there.
I think he should have packed up. He should have got his kids ready. He should have got his army ready, his crew, and then resigned and basically left straight away.
Yeah, that's what he should have did, but he didn't do that.
I think resigning and then staying there,
just hanging around like a bad smell at King's Landing,
it left him vulnerable, and then it also left him open to an attack, because had he been Hand of the King when Jaime Lannister attacked him, Jaime Lannister would have been dead. He'd have been sentenced to death, because an attack on the Hand of the King is like an attack on the king itself.
Who killed the last Hand of the King, though?
Well, that's true. But obviously, because Ned Stark had currently resigned, he was pretty much a
nobody.
Yeah, he was
just some guy for Winterfell.
Just a lord for a long, long way away. And then we obviously see that not a lot happens here. Although, when Ned was acting king, I guess he kind of did want Jaime Lannister to pay for his crimes, and he did send out an army to get him back. But I don't know, I think he made the wrong decision. Probably shouldn't have resigned as the Hand and then stayed so local. Should have just left straight away and...
Yeah, he probably should have, but I mean, it all stemmed from not backing wanting Daenerys killed again. But it's like, what's the much point of being Hand of the King if you can't have disagreements with your king? But again, that's the way kings normally rule in this show, isn't it? Or just the world in general in these times.
Well, I think the Hand of the King is supposed to also advise the king, and sometimes you might have disagreements, but King Robert doesn't really seem like the kind of guy that wants advice. I think he just wants to be backed, and he wants people to blow smoke up his ass, and he just wants to get drunk and for people to go with his decisions, and Ned wasn't really for that.
I'm not for coolness.
I mean, as soon as Ned got there, he was kind of questioning everything, from killing Daenerys to spending too much money on this tournament. He also questioned how the hell they were in so much debt, something that King Robert clearly did not care about.
Why would the king care, though, about the debt? It's not going to come back to bite him in the arse, is it? No, I see the debt situation. Is that not more for like a Littlefinger and the people beneath the king?
Well, it was, but he didn't seem to care either, did he? Or he wouldn't have let it get in that condition.
No, but you would like to... If the debt is made out to be such a big deal, then you would think the people who's in charge of the debt would be in deep shit or worried more.
Well, I did make a separate video on that. Was Littlefinger cooking the books? Was he? Because how the heck did this guy afford to have all these brothels in King's Landing? Anytime you seen him, he always had whores, he always had money. He even managed to recruit the army in King's Landing, and he says whoever pays them basically has them at their demand, and he paid them. So he obviously had a lot of money, and the crown was in debt. Was Littlefinger abusing his power? Was he stealing, essentially?
As you said earlier, though, again, if he made the deal with Jaime Lannister and how everything was conveniently placed, I guess, then they don't really care about the debt, do they? And he could have very easily manipulated the debt.
Jaime Lannister obviously knew that Ned Stark had resigned.
Yep, and who told him? Was it a guy with a little finger?
And not a lot of time had passed, really, since Ned resigned, and then he got attacked by Jaime Lannister, ambushed.
Maybe he got a notification on his phone.
Yeah, what's up?
Ned Stark has resigned. Get your
Ding,
arse
ding.
in, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, guys, that's it. I think he made a mistake. If he wanted to resign, then he probably should have just left straight away, rather than resign as Hand of the King and then stay in King's Landing unprotected. And when you think about it, Ned Stark resigning as Hand of the King and staying around, hanging around without that title, without that protection, it would be kind of similar to Robert Baratheon finding out the truth about Cersei, then her deciding to stay there, knowing that Robert obviously knows the truth about her kids and her relationship with Jaime. If Robert knew that, then obviously she would be leaving as fast as she possibly could to try and protect herself, to try and get away from the danger. And I feel like Ned was a little bit in a similar situation. Once he resigned as Hand of the King, he pretty much had no protection. He was pretty much a foreigner at that point, an outsider, and him just staying around by looking into things, when looking into the death of Jon Arryn and looking into the legitimacy of Robert Baratheon's bastard children, he was creating so many enemies, and he allowed them the opportunity to attack once he resigned from his position. So I agree that, he could resign if he wanted to, if he felt like that was the right thing to do, if he didn't want to go ahead with killing Daenerys, if he didn't like the direction King Robert Baratheon was going in. By all means, resign and go back to Winterfell and live there with your family and find a new husband for Sansa to marry that isn't a complete little psychopathic jerk like Joffrey. But resigning and then deciding to stick around for a while, I think that was a big, big mistake from Ned Stark. Anyway, guys, let us know what you think down below. We'll catch you in the next one. Of course, till then, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and peace.